Today we have a really fun video for you guys. We are going to talk all about introduction to investing. And I have a very special guest here with us today. Say hello to Maria Gallagher from the Motley Fool. Hey, Maria.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for being with us today. I am so psyched to chat with you. So for those of us who are perhaps not as experienced with the verbiage and the lingo of the investing world, can you tell us what IPO stands for and any other acronyms that you feel we should know about before we start?
Sure. So IPO is initial public offering. So that's usually a company will do a big IPO roadshow. They'll work with an investment bank so that their stock becomes public and can be traded on the public markets. Retail investors like the two of us, before the company goes public, generally we wouldn't be able to get in on that company. But once it becomes a publicly traded company, we will be able to trade it, just us on whatever brokerage account you use. Finance has a lot of acronyms, so I can try and go through a couple. We've seen a rise in something called ESG investing, which stands for environment, social, and governance. And so what that means is it's an inclusionary screen. So we as investors look at any company in the world and say, how does this rank in terms of how it treats the environment, how it treats the world around it, how it treats its employees is a big one as well. And then, what does the leadership look like? How much are they getting paid? And kind of examining all of those different avenues and understanding if, I want a company that will maximize profits, but not, to the detriment of these other impacts in terms of the environment and their employees.
I love that. So is ESG then the same as like impact investing, or are they two different things?
So they're all kind of under the same umbrella in some types of sustainable investing. So there are three main types. So ESG, which I just spoke about, is inclusionary. So any company in the world, you can say, is this an ESG company? Yes or no.
Okay.
And then when you look at the second major type is called socially responsible investing, or it's called SRI. If you've heard of the sin stocks, which are generally like alcohol, tobacco, and gambling, those won't even be considered in an SRI portfolio. So from there, you also have something called impact investing, where for SRI ESG, generally with investing, your goal is to beat the market. You say like, I want to do well while doing good is generally the prevailing notion.
Okay.
And then within impact investing, that's not necessarily the same. That's not your main priority, is no longer to beat the market. Your main priority is to have your money make an impact. And so if that means lower returns, that is okay with you. And so that's just kind of that mindset shift is all a little bit different, but all under that same umbrella of sustainable investing.
Okay, Maria. So speaking of investing and plant-based investing in particular, we're going to try some food today from companies that have gone public recently. Are you excited?
I'm thrilled. I love to eat, and I haven't tried any of these foods before, so I'm excited.
All right, we're going to talk about Beyond Meat, which recently went public. I'm super excited about that. It's great news for all of us plant-based eaters. Have you had Beyond Burgers before?
I have not. I'm intrigued to try. I am a meat eater, and I think that Beyond and Impossible are unique, and that they're both trying to tell me that they taste the same as meat, and I don't know if I think that's true.
Yes, I'm curious to see what you think, because I have grown so accustomed to this taste, and I crave it so much. So I'm really curious to see what you think when we bite in. All right, Maria. Bon appetit.
Okay.
See, for me, I love that little bit of like a grilled charred taste in it, and I love the softness. I like the consistency of it. To me, it reminds me a lot of what I remember meat tasting like. What about you?
I don't think it tastes like meat, but I do think it's good. It's close. It's pretty good. But I think it doesn't have the same type of like, I don't know the right word, like grittiness maybe that comes from real meat.
Okay. I can definitely see that. Yeah, for sure. And I know, Maria, that it was kind of unique in that like Beyond Meat was one of the first to go public. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I do think it's a pretty talked about stock. You can see after it IPO'd in 2018, it had a really big pop, which is when it just goes like skyrockets because so many people are trying to get into it. And the stock price still hasn't reached that high from its IPO. So I think it's great to see a lot of excitement in investing and a lot of people who are eager to get into this field. I think that it's a really interesting company. I think it has a good leader, but I do think that it's important to understand that it is expected to be the number one stock within this plant-based industry. Those are the expectations baked into that current stock price.
So really what you're saying, Maria, is I shouldn't be looking to invest in Beyond Meat just because I like the taste of it, but I should be looking at it more holistically, from top to bottom, really, is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think that some of our best investing ideas are from observations in our world and in our life and understanding I'm doing this a lot, my friends are doing this a lot. But then once you actually invest, I think that you need to make sure that you do the research from, oh, I've noticed this thing, I'm interested in it, to, oh, I'm going to invest in it. I think that those are two different kind of trains of thought that you have to try and do both while you're investing.
Interesting. I never would have thought about it that way, but that actually makes a lot of sense. So that's a great tip. Thank you. So let's really quickly talk about Impossible Foods, which is another big plant-based meat company that's doing really well and seems very popular, especially on social. So if and when they hit the stock market, do you think it will be like a direct competition type of thing? I mean, what do you think is going to happen?
I do think it is continuing this trend we're seeing of investor excitement in this market. But I do think that, especially with consumer goods, when you have virtually no switching costs, if you're going to pay up for something, then we say that company has pricing power. So you like it so much, you'll pay more for it. And a great example of that is Apple. I will pay more every time I get a new phone because I love my Apple phone. And that's one of the things that makes Apple a great product and a great business. And so with these companies, I think it has yet to be seen. I like Beyond so much, I'm going to pay more for Beyond than I'm going to pay for Impossible? Or is it going to be a race to the bottom of Beyond has to slash prices and Impossible has to slash prices and they compete with each other? And so that I think is still to be seen, but they're both being priced as if this market is going to be, the next big thing. And so understanding those expectations.
Okay, well, what do you say we give this Impossible Burger a try?
I'm excited.
Yeah, so to me, right off the bat, it's a bit of a different flavor profile. I do remember what meat burgers taste like, and at least to me, in a fast food setting, I feel like this tastes a lot more like what I remember a fast food burger tasting like. What do you think, Maria?
I agree. I think this tastes more like meat. I think this tastes more like, if you gave this to me and I was blindfolded and said, is this a burger? I would be like, maybe.
All right, Maria, so I think it's dessert time. And even though Impossible has not yet gone public, there is another company that has, called Oatly. Have you heard of Oatly? And if so, what do you think?
I'm a big oat milk person. We can talk a little bit more about the investing, but I actually think from an analyst perspective, I think Oatly is very interesting in a way because I would say a lot of people will say, well, if I'm not going to eat a burger, I'll just eat vegetables, or I'll just eat something else. I don't necessarily eat that specific replacement. But for a lot of people, you need something in your morning coffee, and it's not the primary taste. And so I think that that's psychologically an easier switch for a lot of consumers to say, it tastes similar, it gets the job done, it's better for the planet, and it doesn't make my stomach hurt.
Yeah.
Instead of saying like, oh, I'm replacing this whole meal that has a lot of significance to me.
Well, with that, let's give this a taste test. Oh, that's so creamy. It's so smooth and silky on my end. I have vanilla. Maria, what flavor did you get?
I got chocolate. I will say, it's good.
So the exciting thing, Maria, is that Oatly is now the second plant-based company to go public, right? So what do you think about that? Do you think that there's more to come?
Yeah, I definitely think there are more to come. And what's interesting about the Oatly story is that global dairy market is smaller than the global meat market, but the global plant-based dairy market is so much bigger. it's about 3 times the size. So the global dairy market is about 600 billion, and the global plant-based dairy sales are about 18 billion. So it is a much bigger, and like more and more people are adopting plant-based dairy. I think in a way that we haven't seen that rapid adoption in terms of vegetarian eating different types of meat, because I think we talked about this a little bit earlier. It's a much easier psychological switch to just say, oh, I'll just change whatever's in my coffee, as opposed to I'm going to change the core of my meal, and the whole meal is going to taste different, but still has some of those concerns of, you know, you can buy other plant-based milks, right? You can buy Planet Oat, you can buy Chobani, and so why are you buying Oatly specifically? There are very low switching costs, which is always kind of a concern for investors.
So tell me then a little bit more about Motley Fool and what you guys do there.
Yeah, so we have a lot of free resources on Fool.com. The Motley Fool has been providing investing insights and financial advice for over 25 years. So it's really for wherever you are on your investing journey. We can really meet you where you are.
That is so cool. I love that. I am like, no joke, gonna check that out. Seriously.
Yeah, honestly, finance is not as confusing as everyone thinks it is. It's a lot of jargon and it should be taken seriously, but it should be available for everyone. And so hopefully that is the takeaway.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time and your knowledge, and for helping us understand a little bit more about the complex world of stocks.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great day.
And I will definitely be sure to hit you up, Maria, when I'm in New York so we can hang out and chat more. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. We will see you guys again on another video real soon, okay? Bye.